Aim Gurave Namaha. Om Parama Gurave Namaha. Gan Pataye Namo Namaha. Hung Hanamate Namaha. Om Bhagavati Durga Devi Namaha. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sring Subhadraya Namaha. Om Gopi Jana Vallabhaya Namaha. Kling Goraya Namaha. Kling Nityanandaya Namaha. Sham Nasinghaya Namaha. Sring Kling Radha Krishna Bhyam Namaha. Sring Rang Sita Ramabhyam Namaha. Om Apavitra Pavitro Va. Sarva Avastang Gotopi Va. Yat Smaret Pundarik Akshang. Sabhaya Abhyantara Suchihi. Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu. Om Agyana Timarandhasya Jnana Anjana Shalakaya Chakshunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Hayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamahang Vande Sri Gurung Dinataranam. Yat Kripa Tamahang Vande Parama Ananda Madhavam. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namane. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane. Trinadapi Sunichena Torar Iva Sahishnuna. Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Eva Kevalam. Kalo Naskiva, Naskiva, Naskiva Gatir Anyata. Tatra Kirtayato Vipra, Vipra Sher Bhuri Tejasa. Ahang Chadyagamang Tatra Navishtashtad Anugrahat. Sohang Vasravayisyami Yadaditang Yatamati. Welcome everyone to this wonderful temple, Sri Sri Radha Raman Vedic Temple. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Nirantara Dasa. I am an initiated disciple of the ISKCON founder Acharya A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami since 1974. I am invited to come here twice a month to speak on Atma Tattva, the science of the soul. And special blessings, I guess you're the sponsors today. Let's give a big blessing to the sponsors. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. For the past few months, I have been recording for my website the Shreemad-Bhagavatam. And a few days ago, I finished the first canto. So I will speak tonight on one excerpt from that first canto. The entire Hindu philosophy originates from the great Vedic saint His name is Vyasadeva. He is described as Bhagavan Rishi, God in the form of a saintly person. And his specific contribution is that besides being the compiler of all the Vedic literatures, he also is credited with the supreme masterpiece, his final literary work, that was known as Shreemad-Bhagavatam. And there is a history which I would like to share with you. So Vyasadeva, he is residing in the Himalaya mountains, and he is performing great austerities and penances for hundreds and hundreds of years. And in the beginning of this age of Kali began when Lord Sri Krishna left this planet Earth some 5,000 years ago. So in the beginning, Vyasadeva, since he knew the disadvantages of this age of Kali. What is the age of Kali? The age of quarrel and confusion. I don't have to convince you of that. You just have to turn on the TV. After 5 minutes, oh yeah, quarrel, and that's all there is. Every country, every state, everywhere. What's going on? Quarrel and confusion. Hypocrisy. That is the symptoms of this age. So Vyasadeva was feeling very, very concerned about us, the people who would take birth in this age of Kali. So he took the original one Veda and broke it out into 4 divisions. Then after that, he compiled 108 Upanishads. As we learned from Bhagavad Gita, the Vedas mainly deal with the material world. But the Upanishads, they describe transcendence, that which is beyond this material world. Transcendence goes beyond the material senses. So he explains that in 108 Upanishads. Then he also, along with some of his disciples, collected many histories and Vedic stories. Not stories, histories. And he also compiled 18 Puranas. 6 Puranas for people who are generally in the mode of ignorance. 6 Puranas for persons in the mode of passion. And 6 Puranas for you, people in the mode of goodness. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt because you're here. That tells me there's goodness there. So, and then he also compiled another masterpiece, the Mahabharata. And within that great epic is the wonderful, glorious Bhagavad Gita, which is, most people would agree, is the Bible of India. Everyone, I think, agrees. Gita is the Bible of India. But one day, Vyasadeva rises early in the morning before sunrise during the auspicious time, Brahma Muhurta, most auspicious time of the day, 1.5 hours before sunrise, optimum time for spiritual engagement, optimum. But on this day, Vyasadeva woke up and his mind was disturbed. And he was very, very unpeaceful. A sage by by nature, has control over the senses. As we learn in Bhagavad Gita, Shamo Damattapakshocham Kshantir Arjavam Evacha Jnanam Vijnanam Astikyam Brahma Karma Swabhavajam. So the first two, Shama Dhamma, a Brahmana, a real Brahmana, by qualification, by training. Shama Dhamma has control over the mind and the senses. First, you have to control the mind. If you do any yoga, regardless, there are so many yogas. And now there's new yogas every day. Goat yoga, Hollywood yoga, there's so many yogas. No, I'm true. You know. Yeah. So, regardless of what yoga you practice, hot yoga, cold yoga, they all have one common thing. You must get the mind and senses under control. Otherwise, you're not going to proceed on spiritual path. But on this day, his mind could not become controlled. Something was, we say in America, bugging him. Something was not right. Just at that moment, his spiritual master appeared. Narada Muni Bajaya Veena Radhika Ramana Name. Narada Muni is called the transcendental spaceman. He doesn't need an airplane or a balloon. He doesn't need a visa. He, by his own will, can travel all over the universe. He can go to the spiritual worlds, the heavenly planets, the earthly regions and lower. He can even go to hell. And maybe you hear my electronic tambura, you hear, right? So Narada has a special instrument, Veena, but he did not purchase that at Lloyd Bazaar. That Veena was given to him personally by Lord Krishna. And therefore it does not make this kind of sound, twang, twang, no. When Narada Muni plays this Veena, what comes out? Everybody say, Radhika Ramana. That wasn't everybody. Repeat after the teacher, we're in class. Radhika Ramana. Very good. There'll be no detention today. Everyone will get their prasad. Very good. And he also has facility because from birth, Narada has all the 8 yogic perfections. He can travel anywhere. He has all the 8 mystic powers. And also, he is Trikalagya. He can see the past, the present, and he can see the future. And you will see in the pages of the Bhagavatam how Narada Muni once came to where Krishna was as a cowherder boy. And Krishna was doing his leela, his pastimes. And so Narada paid him a visit and said, "Oh, my Lord, soon I'm going to see you kill this demon. Soon I will see you marry Rukmani. I will see you do this and do this." Because Narada has that vision. He can see. Wouldn't you wish Narada was your friend? Hey, Narada, what stock tip can you give me, huh? But you will not get that from Narada. Narada has nothing to do with material things. Narada is a 100% spiritual man, transcendental man. He doesn't care about this material world. His only goal is to preach the science of God. So Vyasadev's guru is Narada Muni. And Vyasadeva said to his spiritual master, Gurudev, you know everything. I want you to find out what is the root cause of my dissatisfaction. Why am I not happy? And because Narada Muni is actually a kind of avatar, there are different kinds, there are 6 kinds of avatars. So Narada Muni is a Shakti Avesha avatar. He is empowered by Krishna. And what is his specific empowerment? To preach the science, the cult of bhakti. He's the Bhakti Shakti avatar. He's empowered. So immediately, because he's Guru, immediately, not mincing any words, Vyasadeva, you are not happy because even though you edited the Vedas, you compiled the Puranas, the Mahabharata, you even did your scholarly masterpiece, Vedanta Sutra, you did the Upanishads, but you forgot one thing. You forgot to specifically glorify Krishna and his devotees. Because we don't just talk about God. We talk about God and his devotees. They go together. So Vyasadeva got instructions from Narada that he should now compile his great masterpiece, Shreemad-Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam means the science of God and his devotees. Now in the Bhagavad Gita, there are 700 shlokas or verses. And in the Mahabharata, there are thousands and thousands. And there is a verse towards the end of the Bhagavatam that says, in this Purana there are this many verses. But the Shreemad-Bhagavatam has 18,000. But all these 18,000 come from what we know as Chatu Shloki, 4 original verses. They are known as the seed verses. Just like you've seen in India or Hawaii, the big banyan tree. But the big banyan tree comes from a little seed. But that little seed has so much potency, it can make the big tree. Branches here and going sideways, down, up, banyan tree. So from originally 4 verses, Vyasadeva has expanded into 18,000. And those original 4 verses were spoken by God directly. Everybody say, Narayan. Yes, at the dawn of creation, the engineer, Lord Brahma, he's the engineer. So Brahma, when he awakes, he finds himself sitting on a lotus flower. But he doesn't see the end. Where is it coming from? And he sees that there is water. He dives in, but he can't find the source of this lotus flower. So he stays, he goes back to the lotus flower, and he begins bhakti yoga, meditation on God with love and devotion. That's a simple definition of bhakti. Thinking of God with love and devotion. And he does meditation. He also hears a mantra, and he hears 2 sounds, ta, pa, indicating, yes, I must perform penance and austerities. And after hundreds and hundreds of years, Lord Narayan appears to him. And Lord Narayan shakes his hand. Brahmaji, you've done good. Congratulations. And I know what's in your heart. I know that you want to engineer the creation of the universe, but you have forgotten. So I'm going to instruct you in just 4 verses. And if you meditate and execute these 4 verses, you'll know how to do the entire engineering of the universe. So those original 4 verses spoken by Narayan is the beginning of all Vedic knowledge. The Vedas, Upanishads, everything comes after that. The original knowledge are these 4 verses of Shreemad-Bhagavatam. So, Narada is instructing Vyasadeva that these are some of the reasons and some of the things you should consider in compiling Shreemad-Bhagavatam. You should not encourage the people to engage in material sense gratification under the guise of religion. That was one of the things Narada pointed out to his disciple. The people are automatically inclined to enjoy, and if you encourage them in the name of religion, there's no hope for them. There's no question of salvation or liberation. So Narada gave Vyasadeva specific, detailed instructions exactly how he should compile Shreemad-Bhagavatam. But the main thing, you must establish Krishna in his true ultimate position, and you should glorify the process of loving and serving Krishna, bhakti. So there was a conversation between Narada and Vyas. And Vyasadeva wanted to know from his guru, how did you become Narada? How is it? So Narada shared his story. He told him that in his previous birth, he was the son of a Shudrani, a low-class woman. Now, it doesn't explain here, but later we find out why Narada took birth as the son of a low-class woman. Because previous to that birth, he was a Gandharva in the heavenly planets, Upabarhana. And one time, there was what we're doing here, Sankirtan, glorification of God. And this was going on in the heavenly planets. But Upabarhana had a very beautiful Gandharva body. And he was in a very, very happy, frolicking mood. So while they were doing Hari Kirtan, this is what we do here, Hari Kirtan, Upabarhana started to sing the glories of the demigods. So the leaders of the Sankirtan festival chastised him. Hey, stop your nonsense. This is not allowed here. No. Better you take your birth in a low family. So that's how he became the son of a Shudrani. Now his mother was engaged in rendering menial service in a Goshala. Those who have been to India know what is a Goshala. And at that time, there were great sages and devotees, bhaktas. And during the 4 months of the rainy season, they were residing at that Dharmashala. So the young boy Narada, he would clean up after them, and he would hear them talk about Krishna, about God. And the young boy was attracted to what the sages were saying, and he listened very, very carefully. And one time he asked them, "Can I take some of the remnants from your plate?" And they said yes. And Narada explains to his disciple, "As soon as I ate their remnants, something happened. There was a complete change in my life." And I have personally a similar story. In 1973, I visited the Hare Krishna temple in Brooklyn, New York for the first time. I was a 23-year-old hippie. But the devotees were very kind, and they gave me some green prasadam, spinach, shak. But to me, it looked like green slop. But I was hungry. So they said, "Here, eat this." I said, "Okay." So I licked it up. And as soon as I tasted it, because they made me like you're sitting on the floor, I was sitting on the floor, because that's how we ate prasadam in the temple. We sat on the floor. But as soon as I ate it, I stood up. "Give me more! Give me more! What is this?" And the devotee said, "Well, if you want more, you have to come back tomorrow." So I said to myself, man, there's nowhere in New York I can get this. This food was... Now, the thing is, it was spinach. I hate spinach. If my mother made spinach, I'd spit it out. But this spinach was better than anything I had ever eaten in 23 years of my life. I told you, I jumped up. So I would go to the temple as much as I can just to get the food. Now look at me now. So be careful. You never know what's going to happen when you eat prasad. But it had that same effect, complete change in my heart. So Narada explains to Vyasadeva that from that moment, my attachment to these sages became more pronounced. And then as they were leaving, they taught me some special confidential knowledge. Then Narada's mother one day, she went out milking a cow, and she was bitten on the leg by a snake. So now the 5-year-old boy has no mother. So, as a 5-year-old boy, he's quite brave. He starts walking and walking, walking, and he arrives at a deep forest. And when he arrives at the forest, he begins his meditation on Krishna in the heart, Bhakti Yoga. And he does it exactly as these sages had taught him. And very soon, Krishna appears to him. And Narada explains to Vyasadeva, when I saw Krishna, all the limbs and senses of my body became separately enlivened. It's called ecstasy. So he was seeing Krishna directly. And then Krishna disappeared, which happens so often. Ask the gopis. Krishna likes to do that. He likes to come and then disappear. So the young boy said, okay, I'll just do my meditation again. So he's struggling and he's doing the same meditation, but Krishna won't appear. And that's a lesson. Spiritual life is not mechanical. It's not the same as playing basketball. No. Everything depends on the will of the Lord. So the young boy is struggling. He's doing exactly what he was told, but Krishna would not appear. Then he hears a voice, Narada. And he doesn't see, all he can hear is the voice. You're not going to see me again in this lifetime. And you would think, why is Krishna being so cruel? But then Krishna explained, you're not going to see me again in this life, because now that you have seen me, nothing else that you see will satisfy you. And therefore, for the rest of your life, you're going to hanker and hanker and hanker for me. And that is how you will become purified. So, a time came for the young boy it doesn't say when he died, but he meets with death. And after death, he comes out in the next creation from Lord Brahma, and now he's Narada Muni, the great sage Narada Muni. Personally, Narada Muni for me is one of my heroes, because I want to follow in the footsteps of Narada. So I like to go in my van, my RAV4, and travel here and there, doing what Narada does, singing and glorifying the Lord. So if you ever want to invite me to your home, I'm available. I'll come and I'll tell you about Krishna. And all I require is some nice prasad. There's my manager, Krishna Kumar. You can book with my manager. So now Narada Muni, he is still talking to Vyasadeva. And Narada tells Vyasadeva some of the key things that he personally has realized in all of his travels and preachings. And one of the things Narada says is that if you're in anxiety, here is the best method to rid yourself of anxiety. Hear and chant the message of Krishna. That, he says, is the best remedial measure for all anxiety. There is the famous bhajan. Bhaja hure manna Srinandanandana Abhaya Charanara Vindare. Abhaya, that's a nice word. Abhaya. Abhaya means fearless, no anxiety. But you can't buy that on Amazon.com. No. Fearlessness you have to achieve. And how do you achieve it? The song is telling you. Bhaja hure manna Srinandanandana Abhaya Charanara Vindare. Krishna's feet, they're known as lotus feet because they're never touched by this material energy. And if we take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, Abhay, you become fearless. And I have personal stories, which I'm not going to go in now. I told you one story, that's enough. But I do have several incidents in my life when I was in grave danger and I called out, Krishna! The danger went away. So I can testify what Narada was telling Vyasadeva. You want to become free from anxiety? Take shelter of the name, fame, form, pastimes entourage of Krishna. So then Narada Muni left, and Vyasadeva now is going to begin his work, that the service that his guru had told him, compiling Shreemad-Bhagavatam. So let me read to you some verses. The great and transcendently powerful Vyasadeva heard everything from Sri Narada Muni. So after Narada's departure, what did Vyasadeva do? Sutta Goswami said, on the western bank of the river Saraswati, which is intimately related with the Vedas, there is a cottage for meditation at Shamya-Pras, which enlivens the transcendental activities of the sages. In that place, Srila Vyasadeva, in his own ashram, which was surrounded by berry trees, sat down to meditate after touching water for purification. So, let's see what level you guys are at. Last Sunday, I was in the Los Angeles temple, and the audience they were pretty good. I'm talking about being able to respond to Sanskrit. So let's see so we're in a little competition. I want you guys to do better. We'll go line by line. Please repeat. Bhakti yogena manasi. Very good. Samyak pranihite male. Apashyat purushang purnang. Mayang chatad apasrayam. Well, the best line was the first line, but that was all right. I'll give you a couple of dings. All right. So here's the translation. Thus, Vyas fixed his mind perfectly, engaging it in bhakti yoga, linking it in devotional service without any tinge of materialism. And thus, Vyasadeva saw the absolute personality of Godhead along with his external energy, which was under full control. So this verse is very significant. So Vyasadeva, as it says here, he fixed his mind perfectly engaging in bhakti yoga. So bhakti yoga is the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. I have been studying Bhagavad Gita every year since 1973. And every time I read it, it still says the same thing. That the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita is bhakti yoga, linking with God through loving service. And we learn from the great devotee Prahlad Maharaj that there are 9 processes of this bhakti. And the first one you are doing right now. It is called Shravanam. Can you say that? Very good. You're hearing. You're listening. This is the beginning of bhakti yoga. Listening to the message. And then I'm doing 3. I'm doing 3. I'm hearing, I'm chanting, and in order to make comments, I am remembering. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. You think we could do that? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. Very good. But in that same song that I sang just a few seconds ago, Bhaja Hure Mana, Srinandanandana. The final verse of there are 4 verses to that song. The final verse gives us those 9 processes in Bengali language. Shravana Kirtana Smarana Vandana Padda Sevana Dasyare Pujana Sakijana Atmanivedana Nirantara Dasa Abhilashare Shravana Kirtana Shravana Kirtana Shravana Kirtana Smarana Kirtana. Those 2 I always emphasize because Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, out of all the 9 processes, the first 2 are the foundation, hearing and chanting. If you hear more and more, eventually it will come out. I've been doing this since 1973, minimum 2-3 hours every day hearing and chanting. That's why I can come here and do this service. So Vyasadeva Yoga, he linked up with God through this process of bhakti, loving devotional service. But then it says, without any tinge of materialism. Now that's the hard one. Because invariably, we tend to mix in material conceptions, material desires in our worship and meditation of the Lord. But if I actually want to see God as He is, that should be the aspiration of every serious spiritual practitioner. One day I would like to be in direct contact with God, Krishna. So in order to do that, I have to become purified. Like Narada. The Lord told him, you're not going to see me again because now you're going to hanker me. You're going to look for me. That hankering will purify you. Same way with Parikshit Maharaj. He was saved by Krishna in the womb when Ashvatthama set the Brahmastra, and the child in the womb could see a wonderful 4-handed person protecting him from the heat of the Brahmastra. But again, after the Brahmastra was neutralized and foiled, the Lord disappeared. So Parikshit, his rest of his life, he was looking. Were you that person I saw? Are you that person? He was always, that's why he has the name Parikshit, examiner. He was always looking to see, I want to see that person who saved me in the womb of my mother. But the thing is, to come to that stage of actually seeing God, then you have to come to the stage which is explained in Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Bhuta. Right now, we are not Brahma Bhuta. Right now, we are Prakriti Bhuta. We're enamored by the material illusory energy, hovering in dreams of sense gratification, hoping against hope, like the person who spends dollar after dollar after dollar, year after year, hoping that they'll win the lottery. Hope against hope. Material life is just like that. It's a dream, a hope that will never be realized. Even if you get your desire, what will happen? You'll get tired of it and now want something more. The billionaire. Okay, I ask you, If you had $1 billion, would you be satisfied? No? Oh my God. Huh? You'll be happy. But you got to understand that's very rare. Because we see in the world, those who have billions, what do they want? More. That's the problem with material sense gratification. Because Krishna points it out in Bhagavad Gita. Dushparain analenacha. Your senses will never be satiated as long as you're trying to do it materially. You'll never come to the point of satiation. You'll want more and more and more. But if you become free from materialism, you become free from sense gratification, then you have a chance to purify your consciousness, as Lord Chaitanya instructs in his first teaching. Chaito Darpana Marjanam. Cleanse the mirror of the mind. Cleanse the heart. And that is done very easily. If you simply every day, and I said what was the best time? Yes. If you simply chant this wonderful Maha Mantra, everybody, Hare Krishna, Krishna, yes, that is meditation. That is called mantra meditation. Fixing the mind on the syllables. Ha, Re, Krishna, Ha, Re, Ra, Ma. Concentrating on each syllable. Not like this. No. You have to pronounce each syllable. And you have to pronounce it loud enough so that you actually hear. Because the trick to japa chanting is concentration. That's why anyone who knows me, when I'm doing my japa, if they call me on my phone, they get a very special message. What's that message? I am in samadhi. I will call you when I come out. Because I take my hearing and chanting very seriously. But that's the message. You can try. You can try now. 310-650-7255. You'll hear them. Krishna Kumar knows. He's gotten it many times. So the trick is to listen attentively. Just like my wife, over the past 40 years, she has to tell me something 108 times because I'm not paying attention. She's talking, but I'm not. So she has to tell me. So when we are chanting, we have to pay close attention. That is the yoga. It's hard work. It's hard work. This is mentioned in 6th chapter of Gita. For one who is beginning the yoga system, work is said to be the means. So when you're trying to concentrate on each syllable without being distracted, that's hard work. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Thus Vyasa saw the absolute personality of Godhead. So because he was free from all materialism and his mind was perfectly linked, yoga, with devotion to God, he actually saw the absolute personality of Godhead, Krishna, along with his external energy. So that is significant. Not only did he see Krishna, he also saw the external material energy, who was under full control. And we read that in Bhagavad Gita as well. Mayadhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam Hetunanena kaunteya jagad viparivartate. Everything in this material world is going on under the supervision of Krishna. That's why repeatedly throughout the 18 verses of Shreemad-Bhagavatam, over and over again, from different authorities, from Sutta Goswami, from Shukadeva Goswami, from the Mahajans, the 12 Mahajans, all the different incidences throughout the Shreemad-Bhagavatam, over and over again, the conclusion will be, everybody say, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is the original, full-fledged, Purna Bhagavan. Now, it says here, due to this external energy, the living entity, although transcendental to the three modes of material nature, thinks herself as a material product and thus undergoes the reactions of material miseries. So this is actually the beginning also of the teachings of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. You are not your body. You're not who you see in the mirror. Now, when you're young, you like what you see in the mirror. But when you turn 72, you don't like what you see in the mirror. But then I remember, oh, that's not me. I'm not this body. That is the beginning of Bhagavad Gita. You're not your body. You're not your mind. Your eternal spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. And when you can actually realize that, and when you can live like that, that is what I mentioned a few minutes ago, Brahma Bhuta, living on the spiritual platform. Okay, let's do a little chanting, and then we'll have a nice japa class. Did you like what you heard? Is that all right? Thank you. Hari Haraye Namaha. Hari Haraye Namaha. Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Gopala Govinda Rama Sri Madhusudana. Gopala Ram Sri Madhusudana. Hari Haraye Namaha. Bolo. Hari Haraye Namaha. Hari Haraye Namaha. Hari Haraye Namaha. So, since you are a great audience, please give yourselves a round of applause. You were excellent audience. You were excellent because there was no noise, and the children, very, very well behaved. Special, come on, clap for the children. Very nicely behaved. Excellent. So I would like to give you a blessing. Would you like a blessing? Free of charge, no taxes. All right. Fold your hands over your heart. My dear Lord Krishna, please bless these nice devotees who have come here to hear and chant your glories. My Lord, you are in everyone's heart as their suhrit, their best ever well-wisher. Please remove all their anxieties. Please make them blissful, peaceful, happy, and may they serve each other in your name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. I want to thank the management of this temple who invites me every month. I hope they continue. Let's give them a big Haribol.